Hello, and welcome to a VO's Journey podcast. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. It is episode 190. Can you believe it? December 1st, 2020. Holy macaroni. I'm excited to be coming back to you after the podcast yesterday because I have some updates and news about Voice123, about auditioning and all that jazz, all right? Let's do it.
This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica.
All right, so if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have a tendency, right, to get myself into situations and, they become a little sticky. So basically, yesterday I kind of threw down the gauntlet, if you will, right, for our challenge that I put out yesterday, the audition challenge, right? And the audition was the challenge was to audition, and we were going to set a number of auditions daily. And, start with December, of course, but then move on to in 2021 and try to basically update every month on how we're doing for our auditions. So I wanted to kind of fill you in with what I have done since yesterday. And something else interesting that happened on Fiverr from Voice123. So first off, yesterday I did the podcast, and funny thing is I had every intention on starting the challenge yesterday, but I was so busy that it just became it was absolutely near impossible for me to get any of the auditions done. So starting yesterday seemed to be pretty crazy. But, I do think that can be indicative of what a lot of us go through when it comes to managing time and doing, something like this, where we're focusing our efforts on auditioning. So, of course, today I was like, all right, so I'm starting today. We're going to knock this out. I've set my goal for 10 auditions a day. And 10 auditions a day. And the goal is to try to keep those 10 auditions under 40 minutes. Okay, that was how I laid out the gauntlet. And basically, I'm using Voice123. Now, just so you know, in all fairness, I'm at the premium level that's about $2,200 for the year. I was at the $395 level, but then there was a deal where it was like, I don't know, it was like $500 or $600 off. So I went ahead and bought up to the next level. Interestingly enough, on Voice123, when I bought up to the next level, there was 2 levels ahead of me. There was another premium level for like $3,900 or so. And then there was the platinum level, which was at $4,995. What's interesting about that is, as I looked at it yesterday again, they took away that other premium level that was at like 3,000 and some. And then they added another platinum level on top of the other platinum. So basically the platinum level is at $4,995 or something like that. But they added a new platinum level that's now at $8,500. And, Voice123 is definitely shifting, I think, their mindset, if they already haven't, right, on not just the audition aspect, but also on you coming up on in searches. And I want to talk to you about that. Interestingly enough, I had my first experience about those searches. But anyways, getting into that, just a minute, let me get you back to auditions. So today, let me go over with you what I was able to accomplish with auditions. Now, I've already done 3 coaching sessions today. I did about $600 or $700 worth of voiceover work on Fiverr, with a bunch more still to do. It's been over $1,000 a day on Fiverr, but I wanted to make sure I got my 10 auditions today in Voice123 because, I set this challenge. I gotta put up, right, if I expect you guys to. So anyways, I accomplished the goal. I did 10 auditions. I basically got in the booth And I literally did one audition right after the next. I did 10 auditions. It took me about 35 minutes to do 10 auditions. I know yesterday, I was mentioning even up to 2 hours. And then I said, we want to try to get it down to under an hour. But I wanted to see if I pushed the limit, because I thought to myself, okay, well, if we could get to 10 auditions in 40 minutes, then you could get to 20 auditions, right? And, maybe then you could get to 20 auditions in under 2 hours. But a couple of things around this. So again, I got the 10 auditions and it took me about 40 minutes. Basically, what I did was I would open a job. I would type in I would create a file, type in my name, audition, and the title of the piece I was auditioning for. I made sure everything was set about how they, the parameters of Voice123, like how they want you to upload the file. Then I went ahead and recorded 3 takes for each audition. If they sent me, a file, I only did about half of it, right? So I did about half of it. So if it was like 4 paragraphs, I did 2 paragraphs so I didn't give them the full voiceover, right? In case they just take it. So I did 3 takes for that, for each one. Then I would simply upload it. I had a template. And of course, they allow you to add samples as well, right? Samples of your work that you have. And since I only have 18 samples up so far, I need to put up more samples. But this was something that since I had that many up, I was able to choose from them pretty good. So pretty easily. So anyways, I did that 10 times. It took me about 40 minutes. Now for the editing process, what I basically did was I recorded the audio. I use a Universal Audio Apollo Twin as my interface. And that gives me a digital interface, meaning that I can actually EQ my work and I can compress my work as I'm recording automatically. So when I record something, like right now, I'm recording you this, and as I'm talking to you, my interface is actually you're hearing this well, you're not hearing it live, but I'm recording it already EQ'd and already compressed. So when I'm done with the recording, I don't have to do any equalization, any compression. It's already done for me. All I have to do is go in and hit a key. It cleans it up. I'm done. Now, I do not on my podcast, but in the auditions, I did go through, and basically what I did is I would copy a blank piece of space. I copied a blank space. And then I would go through and paste that within the audio to get rid of too many breaths. Okay, so that's how I got rid of the breaths quickly. And I did that all in my booth while I was standing up in my booth. I just went in, did that one breath after another. And that worked out pretty well. And I was able to get 10 done. So it took me an average of 4 minutes, right? A little under 4 minutes for each one, which I think is fantastic. If you look at consideration, that I was considering if you did up to 10 minutes, you're talking over an hour, almost an hour and a half, right? But 4 minutes keeps it nice and low, you know what I mean? So anyways, and I think I probably could have done it faster too if I had pre-planned a little bit more, meaning like if I had already brought up the things I was working on, et cetera, but it went pretty well and pretty fast. So I'm very pleased with it. Now, I do want to point out that a couple things that I've noticed right off the bat, and this is trying to be fair about this challenge, okay, is that, as I was doing this challenge, I noted that a couple of things. One, at the time, there was about two or three auditions that came into my queue that was right up to date. But the rest of them were anywhere from, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours ago. So I was able to get 10 in, at least from today, but many of them there was a few that had under 5 auditions, but the rest of them had over 10 auditions already. And, as someone who likes to study, how you come across things like, for example, in, Upwork, I always search for jobs that are under 5 auditions, because if you can get, I always feel like if you can get up in the front, before other people audition, you have a better chance of getting the job, because after a while, people are just not going to listen to auditions. So anyways, needless to say, though, I still went ahead and auditioned, because this is how most of us are going to have to deal with this. We're not going to necessarily be able to do it all throughout different parts of the day as soon as things pop up. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, because as I'm sitting here right now, there's a few more that just popped up, and those would have been great, because right now I'm looking at one that's 0 out of 50 proposals so far, for on Voice123, which would have been great, but it is what it is. So anyways, the point is, so that's one thing I want to point out. And I do want to also say that if you don't have, the level of service I do, I'm trying to remember back when I had the regular premium, which was $3.95. Now this is Voice123, not voices.com, is that, I was getting not very many auditions. I wasn't getting as many. Do you know what I mean? And I wonder if you don't have that high level, if you're going to even be able to get that many. So you might have to settle for 3 a day or 5 a day, or you might have to split. For example, I did all of this on Voice123. Now, if I went over to voices.com and I did 10 or 5, and I went over to Voice Realm, which I both have, I have accounts for each of those, and I did those as well. You know what I mean? It would be interesting to see if I could do that. Let's see, I'm gonna kill myself trying to do that. It would be interesting to see, to do a comparison, right? You did 10 on each one, and you see which one does better. You know what I mean? I would venture to say that Voice Realm would do better, just because I've personally done better on Voice Realm than any of the other ones. However, I have never done a consistent auditioning like this. That's why I laid this challenge out, because I want to see if, we can lay to rest what we're doing. Now, we have to understand too that we're not always going to fit everything they're doing and they're asking for. But I think in this particular situation, it's best that we don't stress so much about all of that and just get the stuff out there. Do you know what I mean? Just get the stuff out there and put it out there and let the chips fall where they may. All right. So that's something I think will help us in pushing ourselves forward, and not worrying so much about whether or not we're going to get work or not right now, just more so focusing on the actions. So anyways, that's what I worked on today. I got that done. I'm very pleased about it. And so we're going to see, this is just day one. You know what I mean? And as anything, time is the ultimate winner here. I mean, it's the ultimate, benchmark. The more consistent you are over time, the better. Now, I wanted to tell you about a cool thing that happened. So on Fiverr today, I came up on a job, and I was working on jobs, going through my Fiverr list and everything. And one of the, I came up on a job that was for $165 for 200 words. And basically, I opened it up and I look at the instructions, and it says, "Hey, we found you on Voice123, and we really like these samples." And they literally linked to Voice123 to my profile and my samples. And then they said, here's the script. We'd like you to do this. And here's a reference video. And I thought that was the most funniest thing to me, because they found me on Voice123, but yet they came and worked with me on Fiverr. Now, did they find me on Voice123 more because of, that I've upgraded my account? Possibly. But I find that interesting that they came to Fiverr to work with me instead of working with me on Voice123. Now, interestingly enough, my prices are not, on Voice123, it's not any, I don't think they're any different. I'm pretty sure they're the same. Now, I know you can set up you can set up booking settings. So basically you can set up your rates on Voice123, and they have implemented something where people can book you now. Do you know what I mean? They can book you outright. So that's something to consider. And I think that can be something that you look into as well, that Voice123 is starting. However, they might have come to Fiverr because I'm charging, I think as I'm looking at this, I'm charging more on voices.com or Voice123 than I am on Fiverr, not because of a scam, but as I'm looking at this right now, as I'm talking to you. So what happens is that on Voice123, they do something where it's like 5 words, 50 words, 500 words, 5,000 words, and 50,000 words. And they ask you to go through and list your price for each one. Then they ask you to list your broadcasting rights or internet rights, for your buyout rights, etc. And they've got 10,000 people, 100,000 people, 1 million people. Now, as I'm doing this, I think when I first set this up, and I'm looking at this now through a different lens, right? I first set this up not really knowing what I was doing. But I think now, if you look, if we're going to keep it the same, and I know this is just me, but I base everything off of what I'm trying to do as a whole, right, in my entire business. I don't base off, now this is not, I know the rest of the industry, a lot of the industry does it differently, but I don't base my prices off of, like, for example, my rights. I don't base them off of how many people see it. I base it off one flat buyout fee. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's important to note because not all places do that. And on here, you could set all kinds of different rates. And then my base rate doesn't change. It just changed per word. So like if you look at, if you're setting your price tag for something, and you go up to like 5,000 words, et cetera, 50,000 words, you got to look at what the difference is going to be when it comes to, like, for example, a book or an e-learning if you're keeping it the same. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that they came over to Fiverr to work with me on Fiverr. And I wonder if they came to Fiverr because it was cheaper or they liked the platform better. Right? It could be that the platform on Fiverr right now is way easier to use than the platform on Voice123. So anyways, what does this mean for you? Well, one, I think what it means, at least for me, as it tells me, is I'm darn happy that I'm on Fiverr too and Voice123 because I made $165 because I was on both. Okay. Now, will that pay off for all the extra money I made? Well, we're gonna do this auditioning and everything, and that might help. But what I'm getting at is that it helps to be everywhere because people are not just going one place. Why would someone go one place when there's 10 more to go? Right? They could go all over. So that's important. The more places you are, the more people are going to see you. The more the more fishing lines you have in the water. The more opportunities you have to pop up in front of people, especially if they go to one site and find you, go to another site, find you there. You look like you're everywhere. You look like you know what you're doing, right? That's important. Also, it's important to have a nice variety of samples. What's interesting is they actually alluded to some samples that I had on Voice123 as opposed to some of the samples I have on Fiverr, which is so interesting because I have such a wide range of videos on Fiverr. I've got over 30 videos in my portfolio, as well as all the spots that you could go through for days about how much work, because I've done thousands of voiceovers on Fiverr. So it's very interesting to me to see what's happening so far. But again, that was somebody finding me there and then going over to Fiverr to purchasing from me on Fiverr. And I thought that was interesting and I wanted to share it with you. So make sure that no matter where you are, and by the way, this is another reason why just because you don't get work somewhere doesn't mean you shouldn't have a lot of wonderful material up and doing stuff, because it could be helping you get work somewhere else. This is the way the internet works. And unfortunately, because we don't own these websites, we can't track. So like cookies and stuff like that, right? And pixels, all right? If you know anything about them, right? They track where you go, what you do, all right, et cetera. When you come to a site, they can latch on to you basically and track you and go with you. I wish we could track people to see, they go to one site, they come to this site, how are they bouncing around? We can't, or at least, we don't own these websites. But I really do believe that people are going in between these sites a lot more than we believe. And if you are not on all of these places, like I talk about, you could be losing business. So anyways, I just found that interesting and I wanted to fill you in on what I did today. I hope that you had an opportunity today to, kick off your auditioning. If you haven't, get to it. You still got time left in the day. Remember when I said yesterday you could do auditioning on, you could even do on ACX because that's free. Doesn't have to be on one of these paid platforms. You can do auditioning on VoiceRealm, on Voice123, on voices.com. There's some other places. I think there's Buldago. There's some other places that you can pay to be on that they send you work and you can audition for as well. But either way, get to auditioning so you can get set up and, knock it out of the park. And please feel free to message me and, send me some messages. You can send it to anthonypicaproductions@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your auditioning, how you're keeping up with this challenge, what's happening. And I'd love to come at the end of the month, beginning of the new year, and set our goals for the new year, and to give ourselves some nice challenges, and maybe we can do some rewards with this as well, as I'm really interested to see how we all do with this. Okay, so and then we can put some percentages to all this, and kind of for once and for all nip it in the bud. Is it possible for us to get work on these sites? Okay, and does it really matter if you pay $2,200, $8,500, $300 or no money? What's the differences? Because you can join these with a free account too. So, it's definitely interesting to me to go down that road. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening today. As always, if you get a chance, leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to. Also, you can head over if you're looking to grow your business other than just this challenge we have here, and you're looking for a marketing plan. I just built an amazing marketing course. It's Voiceover Marketing 101. It's fantastic. It's a 3-phase marketing plan, lays out everything, and it really will help you grow your business to new places. Very wonderful. It's done very well. A lot of people are having great success with it. So thank you guys for listening. As always, you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.